I am honored and pleased this afternoon to be joined by several of Staten Island's finest clergy in this endorsement of the illustrious one, Mike McMahon, for his re-election bid for Congress. I'm pleased to be joined today by Reverend Yvonne Stratford, by Reverend Cora Darby, by Reverend Sylvia Smith, Minister Bruce Shaw, Iman Tahir M. Kakuki, Ram Nair of the Hindu Temple, Reverend Dr. George McLean, and Reverend Lloyd Land. Not only are we members of the clergy, but we too are citizens of the city of this great nation. We are impacted by policies, whether good or bad, that are enacted on a local, state, and national level. We have been empowered by the Constitution to exercise our right as citizens to change the landscape of the political scene, if necessary, by the use of the voting booth. We're nearly 2 years removed from the administration of George Bush, and yet many of the problems created by the administration still remain. It is very naive for anyone to assume that 8 years of Bush politics can be redirected in just a few months, and yet there is a groundswell in many regions of this country of discontent because change has not occurred rapidly enough. We need leadership from across this nation willing to rise above partisan politics to make what is in the best interest of all Americans top priority. In Barack Obama, we have a president who's working to create jobs, to maximize technology, to end the fighting abroad so our troops can come home, and stabilize the national economy. We need Congressman McMahon. We need him back in Washington. He has been a valiant leader who has a 93% voting record with our president's agenda. Michael McMahon has demonstrated that he is a real leader. He is a leader who cares about and fights for all of the constituents of the 13th Congressional District. He is a man who does not play go along to get along politics, and when necessary, he makes difficult choices that may not be popular, but certainly in the best interest of those he serves. Congressman McMahon has been a tireless advocate for the faith-based community. He has been instrumental in facilitating and securing religious worker visas for members of all faiths, and has been very supportive of faith-based federal grants. Congressman McMahon recently helped to pass the 9/11 Health and Compensation Act, which will provide health care for those who aided in the recovery efforts in the aftermath of 9/11. This bill will finally provide first responders with the health care they so rightfully deserve. We need this congressman back in Washington so that he can make sure that the bill passes the Senate and is signed by our president. The congressman has worked to rehabilitate the bus ramps at the ferry terminal and secure funds to expand the Staten Island Expressway. Over these past 2 years, our congressman has established himself as a passionate and independent voice for the people of this great borough. And so we, standing here today with him, enthusiastically endorse his re-election bid this afternoon and urge all of the constituents and residents of the 13th District to get to the polls on November the 2nd and return this great man, our Congressman, Michael McMahon, to office. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Let me thank the faith-based leaders of Staten Island for their wisdom and judgment. We need Mike McMahon back in Washington. I'm Congresswoman Yvette D. Clark of the 11th Congressional District in Brooklyn, and I can tell you that Mike has already made a difference. His presence in our delegation makes it possible for us to really champion the rights, the legislation that make life much better here on Staten Island. Mike has come at a very crucial time in the development of progressive and forward-thinking policies that will lift our communities from the challenges that we face right now. It has been stated by our illustrious pastor, you know, it's only been 2 years since the new administration has come in. And prior to that, we had 8 years of an administration that presided over a collapse of the economy, underfunding of education, a total disregard for the average working class American. That has all changed. We've begun to turn the tide, and we need continued leadership coming from Staten Island to strengthen our delegation and the desires of the people of the state of New York and, of course, this entire country. Mike McMahon has arrived in Washington at the right time. He's making the decisions that are in the best interest of Staten Islanders, and he's making the right decisions on behalf of all Americans. You know, recently I was with President Obama, and he said one thing that I thought was really important, and that is that we have a responsibility to the generation coming after us to build a stronger, more vibrant America. We have put all of the building blocks in place. It is now time for us to go back and to finish that job. But when you reflect on what took place during the Bush administration's leadership, we recognize that going back to that is not an option. So if we want to go forward in a car, we put the car in D. We want to go backward in a car, we put the car in R. So we're asking everyone, put your cars in D and vote for Mike McMahon in this upcoming election.
I want to point out that those eloquent words came from Yvette D. Clark. Thank you, Congresswoman, and thank you, my friend, my brother, Victor Brown. You know, standing here again with you all where we stood 2 years ago is so meaningful to me. But I want to go back even, I guess, 7 years before that, when I just won an election for City Council, and I came in and I saw Pastor. We sat in the anteroom across the way there, and we spoke about how I could be a good or even excellent City Council person, really a public representative. And he gave me very good words. He said, what you have to do is, you have to build bridges into every community of the district that you represent. And no matter, and that is such a great metaphor for really the challenge and the goal of every elected official. And I think what we see here today is that I've heeded his words, and I've worked hard to make sure that everyone in the North Shore when I was in the City Council, and now across Staten Island and Brooklyn, realized that I am here to be a representative of all the people all the time. And just, you know, whether it's in Washington, fighting for the very basic principle that unites us all, and that is the foundation of this nation, which was these words, that all men and women are created equal, have an inalienable right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That is the great difference between myself, ourselves, and those who run against us, I believe, because we stand for all people, irrespective of origin or race or religion or creed. Yvette and I worked very hard in Washington to get a hate crimes legislation and expanded one passed, and we did that. And how relevant that is to the communities right here in Staten Island when we have a terrible rash of hate crimes over in Port Richmond, and we're standing with people who have been very effective in leading against that, and we've given them better tools in Washington together, and now we are fighting on the local level as well. I think it's quite clear the choices that people have to make this year in this election. It is those who believe that America is the land of the free and the home of brave for all Americans, and not just for a select few. And I think it's the people who understand that we're in this together, and that we cannot succeed as a nation unless we guarantee a better future for all of our children. And that's why I'm so proud to stand here with you today. We also send a strong word out to everyone that this election on November 2nd is very, very important. Everyone must get out to vote, and we will work together to make sure that every vote comes out. I am thrilled to have the support of so many clergy members, so many friends. I am thrilled to have the support of my dear colleague in Congress, who also, we started in the City Council together. We were great allies then. She got called down to Washington before I did, and when I got there and walked onto the floor, and there she was sitting there, I said, okay, maybe I got a friendly face from home, we can do this, because there's not always friendly faces down there. But I'm thrilled for her friendship and support. I'm thrilled that you are all here together. We are going to go on to victory on November 2nd, not only for everyone here, but for everyone in this district and for our nation. And together we will work hard to continue the work that has begun to move this nation in the right direction. Thank you all very much, and God bless you all.